Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'll do a quick shout out to all of the people who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out to Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvault, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Chow Young Cat, Dank, David Wayne Foster, Edwin Johnson, Felix Hung, Fireball X, God Rockin', Jeranism, Kirsten Smith, Life is Short, Matt, Michael, Page, Qatar Craig, Reinhardt, Renee, Sam Hine, Skeptic936, Texas Mike, theflatearthchannel.com, Tina Baker, and Tom Herkins. Big shout outs to all of you who support me on Patreon. Now, we are joined by Flatzoid and a couple of people in the Discord server, including 10th Man, so a very warm welcome to you all.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Have you
Ran into that same problem on the Hangouts, so you may need to refresh that link so I can get on that.
I've already got it going now.
I feel lonely on here.
But you got in okay though, right, Flatzoid? I did actually.
Yeah, no problems.
The reason I'm hesitant, 10th Man, is because I did actually generate a correct new link. It wasn't just like a refresh of the old one. This was a new one.
Oh, okay.
So
No
I mean, I can try it, but I just don't know if I'll be successful.
No, just keep it going. Because you're doing 2 shows today, right?
I am, yeah. Should really get it.
No problem.
I mean, that's what these are for, though, right? This is the pre-show. It's what it's for. If there's a technical issue, then I'll just sort it out, right?
Well, I'll see if that same thing happens again, where it says unable to join, and then yesterday you refreshed it, and I was immediately able to join. So, but if it's an issue, it doesn't matter. I could just stay on Discord today.
I can try. I mean,
No.
there's no harm in me trying. So let's just fiddle. Unfortunately, Flatzoid, it might be the case that I dump you, which I will right now, and then put a new link in Master B and Global Debate. See you in a sec. You didn't get to see that. He was waving at me on his camera. Hey, this will just be a work of but a moment. It's been a long time since I've had to rush a new link out, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever you want to do is fine.
I'm doing it. I'm nearly there.
Got it. Love the service.
Okay, well, I've got an audience view again. It's just a case of me sharing it in Mr. B. Let's just do that next. Are you in Global Debate as well, 10th Man?
Am I in Global Debate, meaning an actual show called that?
No, it's another Master B chat, don't worry.
No, I'll just do you and the Quantum Eraser.
Okay, so I've removed the one, just to save confusion, the one that you tried but didn't work, and now there's a new one in there. Do you want to just see if that works?
All right, I'll see if I can get on. I'll see you in a minute.
Okay, I'll going by last time, I'll mute Discord just temporarily on account of the fact that if it does get in, there'll be audio chaos. Oh no, he's already left. I'll just take a Mind Warped, and is it Tesla? Hello, both of you. Oh, got somebody. Got a bit of movement. Is that you,
Hello,
Ted?
hello. That's what it is.
Yeah. Hey, sorry.
Hey. Good to have you. Got you, but no Flatzoid.
He'll come back. He can click on it like I did. But obviously, it seems like when you do a new one, I could get on with my iPad, but when it's whatever you were doing before, it now and then won't let me.
Okay. Yeah, I'll modify what I'm doing slightly.
But if you ever just want me to go on Discord, just let me know.
It's just a case of me not getting too wrapped up in the conversations and not noticing. Yeah, welcome back, Flatsoid.
Yep. Works.
Because if there's no righteous force or quantum eraser in there, people will come in. I just forget to take them off mute. But there we go. I normally remember at some stage. Sorry.
I was just watching Anthony Riley on the street video that was put out, and it seems like a long one, but I'm into it a little bit. I can't wait to go back to it.
It's brilliant. You must watch the whole thing till the end.
Was that the one with Tony in his lovely purple shirt?
Yeah. I was thinking it would be awesome to see QE doing street activism sometime.
I don't know.
I think he got close to the way. Like, I think the girl at the end was starting to be a bit like, you know, she was playing up a bit, but the guy, it looked like the guy was like, you saw him just look down a few times, like asking himself, like, oh no, something's not right here.
Now,
Yeah,
did both of you see it all the way through? Because I'm to the part where he's talking about the quantum mechanics either on the nano or macro level, right at the beginning, actually.
yeah, I watched it till the end.
Yeah, my perception without watching it all the way through, and see if you would agree or not, is that just the small amount I've seen, they're just parroting what they're told in the universities. And on this side, Anthony's saying, describe it. And you could see that
Yeah,
it's a whole different
they pretty much
explanation for
couldn't
each
get
word.
past the fact that like mathematics is only like needed afterwards. Like it's not the way you prove something. They couldn't understand that.
But yeah, my favorite part was with the gyro, where the guy's face is trying to figure out with his hands how the gyro's not spinning.
Yeah, it's a good one to see how the universities are implementing their thought control, because the guy and the girl are just spouting off things, and Anthony's saying, well, think about it. If you say this, it means this, and where's your cause and effect? And they're just like not even listening to him, and they're already answering something they haven't even listened to. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, and then when they couldn't find the answer, they were kind of like looking at each other, trying to see if the other one knew the answer. Like, you know, what were we taught again? Like, what did the teacher say to say?
Yeah, I mean, it went from one subject at the beginning, and in just a short span that I'm watching, it's already had at least 5 or 6, and they never finished the first one.
My real question is though, what does Tony do for work, or does he always get around in like a business suit and a purple shirt?
I think he was keeping with his previous law kind of look.
It looks pretty sophisticated there.
Well, if you want to be a constable, you got to look sophisticated.
I heard someone that he was like a law student or something, or he was studying law. I don't know.
Yeah, for a while.
No, it's just interesting how
Yeah,
people walk by the banners that are against the building and see 200 proofs for flat Earth, and then the two young individuals.
So did you
that are
guys
going,
see my new name for Coriolis? Did you like that? Did you see it?
I saw it.
Did you other guys see it? I
is
didn't
it?
like it.
It was on Master B.
Yeah,
Just say it. What is it?
it's. I'm just gonna call it hairy whole ass or Corey's whole ass. One of the two.
Is
If
it
you saw
a,
the if you saw the picture, you'd understand.
But
is it an
I
antipodal
was gonna
type of
say
deal?
like, yeah, it's just play on words. I was like, so has anyone ever seen like Coriolis? So I would be like, yeah, I was at a party once and like my mate Corey, he pulled his pants down and I could see his whole ass. Corey's whole ass. Like,
What you've been smoking?
I, I thought it was funny. I thought it was
Owen,
funny, but yeah,
but I
that's
don't
just
think
me.
Owen liked it. Though.
No, that's why I'm
The
called
problem
mind
is
warped, man. Come on, I've got to keep up the
the
routine.
problem is the problem is Chocolate's already quoted. Who was it that saying if you have a large enough telescope? What was that quote Chocolate said? Who did it come from? Anyway, the quote is if you have a large enough telescope, you're able to see your rear end.
But yeah, I remember he said if you can see further enough, on a globe, you'll be able to see your backside.
Yeah, but which Glober said that? But he actually said it. I mean, Mike was joking.
That was a few months back.
So you may have a copyright strike there, Mind Warp, since somebody else already said it. You see that gopher I shot yesterday? I posted a picture of the gopher.
No,
Yep.
I was in Master B.
Yeah. After the show, I went to water some trees and I saw this gopher I've been trying to catch for a while. He's just killing my field.
Oh yeah,
And,
you shot it.
I just wanted to ask, what rifle did you use?
Oh, it's just a 22. I mean, you don't
Looks
need
like
much.
I was
22
gonna say it looks like a
Winchester
22.
lever action,
Thought so.
and it was easy because nothing
Just a
was
rim
moving.
shot.
Did you account for this movement or the Coriolis? Which was it you accounted for?
I said right on the text, I shot him from 10 yards out on the non-inertial reference plane. No Coriolis accounting taken.
And you worked at the as is level.
I worked at the as-is level for sure. It's so these people who want to use guns and stuff have no idea, because if you do any kind of skeet shooting where you throw the clay into the air and then you use shotguns to shoot them for targets, right? That's a whole different way of having aim and angle, because the clay piece is moving, so it's in the inertial reference frame, right? And you're on the non-inertial reference frame with your shotgun.
Hey,
And
Righteous Force.
so when the person releases the clay target, you have to move your barrel of your shotgun with the clay target and fire as you're moving it. Most people, when they start skeet shooting, they think they can track the clay target with movement with the barrel and then stop and shoot, and everything goes behind the clay target. So you have to keep tracking with it to do it. So that's a very interesting example of shooting something on a non-inertial reference plane that's not moving, or very little if it's an animal that just takes a step, versus something in the air that you got to track and lead.
Did you see Bone Flat on?
Am I coming in too loud?
No, you're about right.
No, you're fine. Did you guys watch Bone Flat on my stomach flat as the Earth demonstration Coriolis?
No.
An
Do you know what
interesting
one other thing you'd have to account
conversation
for?
I was having
I'm sorry.
today on another Discord channel, which was the 24/7 Flat Earth Discord channel. I can't remember how it was brought up, but it's every time they have a world war, like it's when we used to have like scientists that had a pretty good like view on the ether, and we had Tesla and things like that. And then First World War came along, and then a whole lot of things changed, and everything went Einsteinian, and Second World War, and then all the great minds went over, like, and there was a great reset, and then people's way of thinking reverted back to like the way that the government wanted you to think. And I was thinking to myself today, well, it almost seems like there's this great awakening going on now, of flat Earth, and different way of thinking about things and questioning everything. And it seems like more and more like you see the world edging towards or teetering towards the World War III, and start to wonder if that's the way the government goes to kind of like reset everything and bring everything back to the way they want you to start thinking again, like wipe away this way of thinking, and bring it back to the way they want to sort of think. Do you get what I'm saying? No?
Yeah, we get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's just extremely morbid.
Yeah, it is morbid. Yeah, but it's true.
Because you fantasized it yourself?
I just came up with it. I was like, after World War One, like, because like a lot of scientists viewed that they knew that there was the ether and electronic universe, and or things like that, and then all of a sudden after World War One, everything was just Einsteinian. He was given a lot of money by like governments and things like that, and the whole view of everything changed. And I'm just looking at it like, well, is that how they do it? Is that how they do it? Do they start a world war just to reset everything back? Like, I know it sounds morbid, but to me it makes sense. I don't know if I'm wording it properly, but
Fine to me. I'm listening to happy music in the background.
that's good. Who said that? Was that you, Righteous?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I think you were in the Hangout when I was or the Discord when I was talking about it.
Yeah, I was there for a bit while I was getting ready for my morning stuff.
Was this on 24/7?
Got a bit hectic there.
I didn't have time to talk though.
Yeah, pretty-
I was just like listening while brushing my teeth and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just had it on while I was working. But it's cool because it's 24 hours. I can just chuck it on while I'm at work, just in the background there. Yeah, it got pretty hectic today on there. I think Wiggles was on there. Hey,
I know Kosher is a regular.
who's the Glober that always goes on about being a pilot and kind of sounds like a little bit girly?
Wolfie?
Not to be rude, but no, not Wolfie. No,
That's someone else.
He kind of
I'm
sounds
also
like
trying to think of the
he
name.
sounds like he sounds like Wiggles, but it's
Discord.
not Wiggles.
I don't think it'd be Wolfie. He hardly ever mentions that he's a pilot.
No, it's not Wolfie. Wiggles isn't a pilot, is he?
Xanax says he's a pilot, or was a pilot,
Really?
or knows how to fly a plane or something.
But he doesn't understand Coriolis.
Yeah, there's one guy that keeps mentioning, "Oh yeah, I'm a pilot," and he was talking about it today, and he was on Discord. And I'm like, "Is that you?" And he's like, "Nah, it's not me." I'm like, "Yeah, pretty sure it's you."
I want to get back to the projectile shooting. You know, one other thing you'd have to account for over in further distance, you would have to account for in your shooting, not just Coriolis. You guys know what that would be?
Wind.
No, Earth drop from the target
Oh,
shooting
right.
position.
The Earth curve. Well, I think if you're just looking at a target, calculations for the reified maths of an Earth curve don't really come into it. You just look at the target and shoot at it.
Well, no, I'm talking more of a long distance, like let's say an artillery person that's shooting artillery or projectile missiles or something like that. You'd have to account
now I get
for.
you. Yeah, so the shout out to Ben, who's now on Globebusters every Sunday with Jaren and Bob and Eru. So he has got a channel called Taboo Conspiracy 2, and he did a little skit when it was Taboo Conspiracy 1. Obviously, it's been re-uploaded on his new channel, with him at a periscope, pretending to be, talking to some other chap who's also next to the periscope observer, and they're talking about these ships in the distance, and they're like, oh, that one's about 12 miles. Yeah, we can definitely shoot at that one. That one's 14 though, so the bottom isn't really there. Oh, that one's 20 miles. That's definitely that there. That's definitely a slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection of that ship from beyond Earth's curve, so we can't shoot at that one. And so on and so forth.
There you go.
I like QE's Sea Sparrow lasers locking onto a hologram if they're going to stick to their story. How does a laser lock onto a hologram?
Yeah, target painting.
Doesn't.
Exactly.
It's line of sight. Those pencil beam RF targeting systems need line of sight. That's why they're a good flat earth proof. They're painting the target, i.e. putting it onto the target.
This might sound like a bit of a weird question, but I was listening to an audio book probably about 6 months ago, and I can't for the life of me remember what it's called, and I was hoping one of you guys might know what it was called. I thought it was called something like the Iron Nation or the Iron Republic or something like that. And
yeah, the Iron Republic. I think it was read by Morgile as well. I think he read the Iron Republic.
Is it the Iron Republic, is it?
I think Morgile did an audio version of it from memory.
Yeah, and where a guy he's like a journalist or something, and he gets the shits, and he ends up selling everything and getting a boat and a crew and sailing through a gap in the ice and finding
he ends
civilization.
He ends up at an equivalent of the Hyperborean.
Yeah. So
with like giants that seem like they'd be like Danish people, maybe, tall and
yeah.
I was gonna say blonde, but Arwen isn't, is he?
Yeah. So
and they live in like a kind of utopia where they do have trade, but it's kind of a bit more. It's hard to describe.
Yeah. It was an interesting listen. I was trying to remember what it was called. What was it? Sorry, what was it again?
I think it was called the Iron Republic. I think you were right. I could be wrong, but
the Iron Republic.
I think so. Like I say, if you check out the Morgile's channel, he's got an audio recording of it. I think he read it out.
Oh, okay, Morgile channel.
I think so. I could be wrong.
I think you're right. I've actually seen that book or whatever on PDF online. You can find it.
Yeah, but I've been typing in Iron Republic all day and I can't find it, eh? Republic.
There's a website, I forget the name of it, but it's like ancient books or old books website. There's a lot of books that are on there that are PDF form that you can download. Forget the name of the website.
Arwen will know. When Arwen gets here, ask him. He'll know.
Okay. I could go onto his show quickly and ask him.
So, Paul, what did you think of the Discord yesterday?
The one where right when I dropped off, that one, or earlier in the day?
Just any part in particular.
I mean, I'm realizing that going in there is not always the wisest thing, especially when certain individuals are in there, and just from what I'm learning so far. But that girl that was talking, I can't remember. I don't know what her name is. That's she, I don't even know who she was, but I'm going like she kind of off the deep end a little bit. And there's hostility I noticed. It seems like, towards, even like when we were talking about the Bible at the end there, it was like this hostility just rose out of nowhere, and that's why I started backing down. And then when I finally jumped off too, I was just watching some of the chat going on, and then I think Puppy Lover, he started posting those memes making fun, and I thought, this is why I don't want to talk to these guys, because they talk about us, but this is no intelligent conversation really going on here, That's why I kind of one reason I started getting quiet and backed out, but of course eventually I dropped out. But it descends into chaos fairly fast, seems like.
I thought things went smoother after we started chatting about that. Before that, I thought it was pretty all over the place. Like, I noticed some flat earthers that come on there, they don't stick to one argument. They keep jumping around just like the ballers do. So they never get anywhere. Nothing gets resolved. They're just all over the place, and it just becomes chaotic, or seems chaotic.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot too. I think QE's right. I think there needs to come a point where we stay on the one topic until we're done with it. I even noticed, like, when I was talking about Isaiah, they thought I was talking about the same concept. I'm going like, were you even listening? We just, do you understand what I'm talking about? From Matthew, the concept of the reliability of the reliability of Isaiah to the prophecy in Matthew that's in Isaiah. It's like they completely missed that. It's like it makes me realize that they're not even listening to what's happening, and they don't even give you time to address the issue, whatever that issue may be, So
yeah, I think that's why people need to learn how to just basically learn how to debate more concisely and to the point.
And then Zanuck was trying to throw the red herring at me, and I was like, oh, really? When I was talking about the language of the Bible, and then he started getting into the language of science, I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. I was like, it's not what we were talking about.
Yeah. That's what I noticed. I noticed that as long as the ballers think that it's almost like a tactic, as long as they keep talking, they think they're like winning, So as long as they keep jumping from topic to topic, or they keep you engaged in something, they think they're winning or something.
It's obfuscation, basically.
Yeah.
And I knew where Puppy was going when he asked me that one question. I knew where he was going with it, because it's not like I've not heard that before, But I'm like, oh, okay, enough's enough here, guys. Did you watch that video I posted about the debunking the globe math? Did you see that?
No, I remember this morning though, so I'm gonna have to check it out again.
I think he's pretty good. He's just basically showing how you can, if the lenses are, if the atmosphere is lensed at any way, or on a flat table, with a closed sun, you can, get the same mass and all the stuff, and even showing that if things are going through a lens, you can't triangulate. Something else he does I thought was really good. Like if the atmosphere is doing any kind of I guess the word's not diffraction, but refraction of the light, then your angles are going to be off no matter where it's at. So and especially that would be compounded. I was thinking about this as they were talking yesterday. If you throw a slight angle off using the triangle method to measure the distance, if it's off just 1 degree, that can throw your distance off. And especially if you got these vast distances that they say the stars are, a slight angular miscalculation can throw everything off.
So not only do the curve calculators need to account for perspective, they also need to account for lens now too.
Count for what? I'm sorry, you muffled on the last part.
Lens. Camera lens.
Yeah. Camera lens, and also even the atmosphere, because diffraction is when light hits a different medium. Well, that's going to, even though they say it's not negligible, but any slight change over vast distance, even a slight angle change will mess up any distance you have, no matter how large or small it is. And they don't even think about that. I think that's what that video was trying to show, but they don't want to hear it.
That's why Coriolis is going on 2 weeks. It's because if the Earth is not spinning, none of that matters.
Yeah, there's so many things going on with like our vision. And you throw that all away. I don't know, it doesn't seem very logical.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, John.
Hello.
Up early today.
Hey, John.
Hello.
Yeah, we're getting this nasty feedback and you not hearing us.
Say again?
We're just getting nasty feedback and you not hearing us by the sounds of things.
You're getting nasty feedback from what?
From someone talking when they hear you on Google Plus. Can you just say something righteous for us?
All right.
You have a conversation
more
with John
echo.
is what I meant. Sorry. Chat to John just for a couple of seconds.
All right, John. So how did your mic lessons go from the ballers yesterday?
Yeah, it went pretty good.
They helped you out, actually?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Guys, can I ask a quick question?
How about that? Is that good conversation
What's
or is it
going
still
on?
bad?
Yeah, I've definitely got some feedback. Are you using your speakers?
Nope, I'm using a new mic.
Yeah, but what are you listening to it on?
Speakers.
So the speakers are being heard by the mic, and that's causing feedback. So you need to turn the speakers right down, or move the mic away from the speakers.
It's not. I got my headphones on. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to head off, but I just put in Master B the link to the audiobook. I found it. So it's in 20 parts. It's a pretty interesting listen, I would say. But yeah, have a listen and see what you think. I enjoyed it, so I just thought, yeah, you guys might like it.
Have a good evening.
I've got to be honest, I'm pretty useless at the moment. I can't hear a damn thing. There's a guy with a chainsaw right out my window.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, I found that the Iron Republic audiobook, and I just posted it in Master B.
Oh, cool, thanks. I think I just about heard that.
Awesome.
It was the Iron Republic then?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but it's John Cooper's channel, and it's a 20-part audio book breakdown on his channel. So yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I remember listening to it and I was like, wow, this is such a cool story. But it doesn't say whether it's true or whether it's false. But it starts off with a quite an interesting introduction. So yeah, I think you guys will like it, but it's worth a listen.
Thanks. I'll listen.
It's a good thing I called in early to take a mic check. Is it still bad, Nathan?
I can't
No, you
tell.
sound
Like I say,
fine.
I've got too much background noise at the moment. But if you can pop every line except your mic and Skype on...
That is some mean chainsaw background noise.
Sure. I'm fighting with the chainsaw and you now, though. Mind what. If you can just pop all lines except Skype and your mic on mute, that may help things. For those of you in the audience interested why we're doing these technical things in some of these pre-shows is because at some point John's going to start broadcasting rather than broadcasting Ballbusters, which is me broadcasting Ballbusters via Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. So at some stage he's got to actually take up the reins and do it himself, in other words, which is why he's learning this stuff. Anyway, I'm going to go back on mute because of the chainsaw noise.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask a quick question as well before I go. Like, have you guys ever brought up the East India trading company before on the debates and how they kind of like tie into a lot of things?
I don't believe it has.
Okay. Might be an interesting topic to bring up.
Captain Jack brought it up.
You know, the East India Trade Company was established in like the in the 1600s, and was like the main world supplier of basically everything, like cotton, silk, salt, spices, everything really. But then it kind of became its own like basically global conglomerate of everything. But then it just had to get broken down into its certain things, and basically, yeah. So it's still around. It still owns everything, but it's broken down into its bits and pieces, so people don't actually know. So, like, you know, you hear of the thing of like the Rockefellers and the Illuminati, but you know, that's all just a bit of hogwash, I reckon. But it's all really East India Shipping Company. If you trace it all back, it's really interesting. I was reading up on it today. What actually brought it to my attention was I was on a replica ship for my daughter's birthday called the Doifken, which is a Dutch ship, and they had one of the original old cannons on there, and it had this emblem on the cannon, and I couldn't quite work it out, and it was an old East India spy company logo, and it almost looked like a Freemason symbol. It's interesting. You guys there?
Yeah. I'm not sure what to say.
Good.
I don't think Nathan is
Yeah.
that conspiratorial minded, though. I think Nathan likes nowadays
Okay.
to stick more to empirical facts more than.
And I can't really comment. It's too noisy where I am.
Yeah.
Just talk about the ice wall for. Bring up the ice wall. He'll get into the discussion.
Just don't encourage them. About to start the live show.
Okay.
How's that sounding?
I do love flat Earth and everything like that, but like I love my conspiracies, but you know, they're all tied together. Once you start going down that rabbit hole, everything kind of, you know what it's like.
Sorry, mind warped. Just now I can actually hear. Now the chainsaw guy has gone. Yeah, let's have an actual listen to how you sound, Huey.
Yeah, Nathan, how's it sounding now? Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, pretty good. Is that your new mic?
Yeah, I got a new headphone mic.
Doesn't sound like a condenser mic.
Yes, I got a new headphone mic.
In either event, it sounds good. It sounds better than it did, which is all that matters. Hopefully there's no feedback. There doesn't seem to be any. But just be vigilant with your mute as ever. I'm sure you are anyway.
What kind of mic have you got?
Cloud Alpha HyperX.
Oh, so it's a fairly decent one. It's a condenser mic, right?
No.
No? Okay.
Alrighty then. That's warmed up the crowd nicely.
lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on social media. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Flatzoid, Quantum Eraser, Righteous Force, Paul, 10th Man, and I think that's about it in Skype and Google+. Hello all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Hello, hello, hello. And we've also got a whole bunch of people in Discord as well, so hello to all of you in Discord.
Hello.
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 Hello, 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 hello.
Very, a bit more encouraging than the last days gone by. Anyway, any signs of Earth curvature?
Not from California.
Any sense of what?
Zero.
Earth
Still
curve.
flat in South Africa.
No? Flat, flat, flat. Okay, any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Nope, still standing up
Definitely
straight.
None.
Not.
Nope.
No Johnny Globeheads amongst us today? Clearly not.
That's.
Any
It's going to be a quick housekeeping.
any scientific evidence of gravity?
What is gravity?
Bending of a conceptual medium.
What?
Gravity.
No.
No.
Anybody at all? Scientific evidence? Gravity? Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Definitely not.
Nope.
Hey, Arwin. Alrighty then.
Hello.
Yeah.
Any evidence
Hello,
of
Arwin.
a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Completely unprovable.
Still just marshmallows over a fire. Yummy.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure, like we all breathe, without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
No.
I do have a question about that, though.
This is your moment, my friend.
Thanks. I'm trying. I can't articulate it. Obviously, I know I'm a flat earther, but I can't. When someone says to me, "Oh, we do have gas pressure, and we're on a ball, but we have it anyway," but they can't back it up with evidence. But I can't then articulate myself to say why we don't. Could you sort of elaborate and help me out?
What, explain why we must have a container?
Yeah. Well, not a container. Yeah. Basically, a container.
In essence, you can't have one without the other. So, without the container, there is no pressure. That's a quote from a guy who goes by the name of Conspiracy Cats on YouTube, former science teacher, and he explains that without the container, there can be no pressure. End quote. So, in essence, you have to have something to press on to have pressure. And in their example, rather than something to press upon, they've got an area to disperse into. So in their world of vacuums next to gas pressures, the gas by its nature would want to expand into it. But the fact that it's still here, by implication, implies it's got something to press upon. Because without the container,
But
there can be no pressure.
Their argument is that the gradient, the pressure gradient. So he said to me, we have a pressure gradient without any observable or provable container. That's what he's saying.
Okay. So
and he goes, can you please demonstrate 100% pressure gradient inside a container?
That can be done. It's been done by a couple of people, one on each side. So you've got guy Hillbilly Blue Balls who did a pipe with a gradient using butane and the atmosphere. And then you've got a guy called Good Times for All, Zachary Sabala, GUDTIMS, number 4 ALL. And that's Zachary Zabala, Good Times for All, who did a container that he heated one end of it and got a varying pressure, i.e. a pressure gradient in a container. So there's a couple of examples of just that, gas pressure gradients with a container. Our argument wouldn't be to demonstrate that it can be done. It would be to take that one step further, i.e. the argument I gave you a moment ago is without the container there can be no pressure. Without pressure there can be no pressure gradient. So first you have pressure, then you have a pressure gradient. In other words,
that makes sense.
It makes it's a red, not a red herring. Is it a straw man argument? It kind of seems to address your point, but doesn't, because it's. You may have heard us say on the show delta X and X. Well, delta X is gas pressure gradient, and X is gas pressure. Well, you're going to have gas pressure first. In other words, it doesn't address the argument because without the container there can be no pressure. Conspiracy Cats.
Perfect. That makes absolute sense to me. Absolute sense.
One thing that needs to be reiterated though is Hillbilly Blue Balls was bunk.
His assertion in the title was bunk. He asserted that he was demonstrating gas pressure without a container, whereas what he did was demonstrate.
But it wasn't a container.
Yeah.
Without a container, but it was a container. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a container, a nice long container. Anyway, he demonstrated gas pressure gradients in a container inadvertently whilst attempting to debunk the notion that you would need a container to press upon. There we go.
Yeah, he was trying to disprove it where he actually proved it. Yeah. He kicked himself in the teeth.
See, the problem is the globers think a container has to have a lid.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, Chocolate.
Hey.
No chocolate.
Anything else on gas pressure without a container, or gas pressure gradients without a container? Anything? Anybody? Any evidence of the presupposition that Earth has a spherical radius, the R value? Anybody?
There are none here.
No.
Hey, Alan.
Hello.
No.
No, there is no R value. How would they even measure it?
Measure?
Assumption.
They don't. They've only dug down 12k.
Yeah.
And they're not measuring it. They're deriving it from the path of the sun. And then assuming that sun is traversing the outside edge of a sphere, they presuppose when they take that value of circumference, if you will, and turn it into a spherical radius. Isn't that lovely?
Swear.
And they all got married and lived happily ever after. And so is the fairy tale.
We really need globers on here.
Doesn't seem so.
Oh, and you do need a lid on that container, because eventually the gas will escape. So entropy is directly proportional to time. You got to have a top on that container. Eventually it'll escape.
Agree, but they say it's no container if it doesn't have a lid. That's their problem.
Well, they say they have an ozone layer, don't they? So something shielding the Earth. That's what they say, the magnetic field. That's what they say.
Hillbilly Blue Balls one just proved that like it didn't have a lid, but it was a lid because the gas was heavier and was down there, essentially creating a lid. So you don't have to have a lid.
You do have to
created it
by... will escape. He only listen.
Yeah, it
this
will
was
over
just a
time.
little.
Yeah,
this was an Elmer Fudd trick, right? Okay, let's try this. Let's make that pipe 6 feet in diameter
yeah. We've had this argument before.
and 3 feet tall.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
But it wouldn't work in the first instance. It's just you're increasing the effect entropy would have by making the pipe a different dimension. But it doesn't change the effect.
Yeah.
It's just slowed down if you decrease the diameter of the pipe. Likewise, I like to just immediately use an analogy of a tyre. So a tyre is a container. You put a screw in it, and there's little gaps for the air to escape. But most of the air inside the tyre hits the rubber, and then it hits the wheel. Then it hits the rubber, then it hits the wheel. Every so often, it hits the hole and escapes. But to all intents and purposes, it's containing the pressure for the most part. Now, John's point is that you do need a lid on the container. In other words, if there's a screw in the tyre, eventually it'll all escape. Eventually.
Yeah, well, like I named it before, like Bob Blue Balls created a leaky container. It's a slow leak, so
Yeah, slow puncher. Precisely the same analogy. Exactly.
Exactly. Yep, we're on the same page.
Unless you wanted to add something, John.
No, it's just a little parlor trick. Like I said, make the pipe 6 feet in diameter and 3 feet wide. See how long that butane stays in there.
Right on. I think that's it for the housekeeping questions, though. I think we've covered it all. Unless did I miss anything? I don't think so.
I see Paul's got wind currents on again.
Yeah, I've stuck it up.
No, it's just.
Have you guys noticed that
just,
a lot of the movies?
Just for you, Nathan. Just to have it up there.
Thanks.
That's all.
Like,
Sorry, mind warps. Just wanted to repeat yourself. We were discussing the graphics that are old renderings of.
I was just saying, have you noticed that a lot of the movies that are coming out lately, like loosely flat Earth based, like that abominable cartoon movie for kids and the second Frozen movie? They kind of bring in like an ice wall and land beyond the ice and stuff like that. And have you seen that?
Ice wall?
Yeah, they bring in very subtly.
Game of Thrones has the ice wall also.
Yeah, they've got the narrative they want it to be in future. I mean,
it's almost like slow closure, like or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Like a slow release of a controlled narrative, that sort of thing.
Pretty much.
Or a straw man.
Or a straw man. I don't care which.
Yeah, it's almost like they're creating it to make it look like it's a make-believe thing, so people look at us and go, "Yeah, look, you guys believe this crap." Because
with the ice wall on Game of Thrones, a
something.
lot of people use it to like kind of make fun of it, like make fun of Flat Earth in a sense. So it works
That's
that way
exactly
too.
what I'm getting at. Like, yeah, it's almost like they're starting to just push out all these movies, like the same way they did with that Netflix. Like I can't stand watching that that Netflix doco with that lady that sadly left us. What was her name? Patricia, and a few other people. It just made everyone look stupid, and that was their whole intent. Like
behind the curve.
Like that, and
But
now
still...
they're releasing like, they're releasing that Abominable, which is trying to bring him back beyond his land beyond the ice wall, and then now Frozen, she's got to try and traverse through the ice to get back to the center, and it's all just, yeah.
You know what I think of ice? I usually put in my drink.
What?
What's that?
Ice. I usually put in my cool drink.
Don't you think it's weird though?
I mean, we could.
Yeah,
I mean, depends how you want to analyze it. You could analyze it about the many layers of subliminal programming and their purpose for putting them in there. Or you could argue about how it's, like you say, presenting a straw man for people to debunk if they ever come to argue it. Or you could argue it that it's positive programming and that they are actually trying to convince people of this nonsense model. There's a million different ways you could analyse it, but it is what it is. And personally, I think that it's poison, all of it. I've switched off from all of it, TV, movies, the lot. It's just sitting here analysing why the movie producers, the people who are essentially trying to program you and indoctrinate you with this material, well, let's analyse it. It's like, I personally, I'm not saying everyone should do this, obviously do as you want to do, but I step back from it because then it doesn't concern me anymore. Literally, I haven't got a care in the world in that regard. Same goes for the news. Most of it's propaganda, so why concern yourself with it, as opposed to pulling apart whether or not it's fake?
Yeah, well, I get bored watching
I
the
applaud
news.
you for that because it can get very draining trying to negotiate through all this crap sometimes. That's why I'm kind of learning now to take a lot of things with a grain of salt because I was getting way too involved, and that's why I left and came back, and I left and I came back because it was just getting to me too much. But it's kind of like before, the saying used to go that to change history, it only took like 4 generations. Whereas now, with the way the world is, it probably only takes 1 or 2 generations to really change like the past. So, is it a slow release of information? So like the kids are watching this and then they're gonna eventually say, oh yeah, by the way, the earth is flat, and you're not gonna freak out so much, because we showed it to you in kids movies? Or is it, like you say, it could just be like straw manning the heck out of us? So
Well,
I
like
don't know.
Nathan said it, he said it pretty concisely. Like it's like a little bit of everything. Like making fun is also part of the first step of waking up, So even if it is put out there and making fun kind of way, eventually people stop laughing and they like wake up to it, right? What is that thing? They say the first step is laughing at it, then the second step is, and so on. But yeah, who knows? I still think it could be like a slow control release has to be there.
Yeah, I think it's maybe opening
That's
doors
what I
for
think it is,
NASA.
personally.
One day has to say, listen, now we couldn't make it to the moon, so proving a flat Earth without.
And they can't just do it like quickly. It has to be slow release. That's why I'm saying like it's going to be a generational thing.
Yeah. So maybe generations later on will be like, oh, NASA actually proved a flat Earth.
Yeah.
It's always been flat.
Like a laxative. Let that shit out slowly.
Very Coriolis.
Nathan always has a way of putting things very concisely and landing everybody's thoughts.
Bloody ice walls. I'm sick of it.
Oh, jeez. That's funny.
Did somebody say ice wall?
Yeah, me. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. All of the narratives, they all point at bloody ice walls.
Yeah, I personally don't believe. I believe in an plane. That's my viewpoint on it. But I don't really care what other people's view on it is. We all know it's not a globe. That's the main thing.
Well, let's put it this way. I haven't been that far enough to see if it's ice walls or whatever. For me, what I see is what I see. What I observe is so far motionless and flat.
Exactly. But I applaud you guys. Hey, like especially you, Nathan. Like I'm kind of learning from you. Like what you just said then, like really rang true with me. Because I got so run down when I first got onto this topic. I was just like, oh my god.
Hold on.
What, the laxative?
The laxative.
How he was saying like just not giving a crap about a lot of the things, like taking everything with a grain of salt. You kind of have to, otherwise it just eats away at you.
Well, that's kind of not my point. I'm saying don't take it at all. Forget taking it and the salt. The grain of salt is watching the mainstream media and going, I don't necessarily believe this. Why analyse it at all is my point. Don't take it at all.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm meaning as well. Like I don't watch the news and I don't watch a whole lot of these movies because I'm just looking at it going, yeah, right, this is bullshit. You know,
if it's negative, just toss it out. Like if it brings you down, just.
And that's why I go and come back and go and come back, and you guys are like,
Well, why would
"Man,
you
this guy
leave?
must be
Why would you leave this
bit
community? What's in
forever."
this community that's making you upset or getting to you?
No, it wasn't the community. It was just me in general. Like I just was just overwhelmed at the beginning. Hey, I suppose.
Are you sharing your pain?
Yeah, but this is flat Earth pain.
I am.
It's different.
Yeah.
This isn't.
I never went to that at all. I never experienced that at all.
So I guess none of you are going to go see the blockbuster hit with Brad Pitt called Ad Astra, I take it.
What's it called?
No chance, mate. Absolutely no chance.
Ad Astra.
Ad Astra.
Yeah, just you can
Is it
Google
sci-fi, is
it.
it?
He's got to go into the false medium space to fix something that his daddy did that's going to destroy the Earth. I mean, it's so apocalyptic in the man's way and reifying space. It's crazy. End of the month. It's coming out. It's going to brainwash some more people.
Right. No, that's not on my wish list. Gotta be honest. I was just going to say that Mind Warp's not in pain because of cognitive dissonance and having it pointed out to him. It's more that, I don't know, well, you tell us where you have told us.
No, it was just more the fact that, like, you know, when you first like get into the whole flat Earth thing, and like I look at things more than flat Earth. Like it's like a rabbit hole, you know.
Oh, I see.
You
So
just
many
realise-
times this comes in useful. I reference Conspiracy Cats describing what he would have to contemplate when interviewed by Jonathan on Haunted House channel. Check it out. And he explains that he might end up at the tip of that rabbit hole looking how everything's, you know, not quite as it presents itself, and you might have been deceived on more than one level. It's not just necessarily the nature of your entire reality and how you're not living on a sphere flying through a vacuum. There could be other things you've been deceived about, and that's kind of scary and depressing, and you wouldn't want to have to face that now, would you, was what he explained. So you're obviously over the precipice, so therefore you're experiencing that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, as you know, I haven't been here long. Like I've probably been here like a year, maybe 8 months. So you know, like, but then there was a little while there where it was just there was a couple of people that were coming on this show just being like the same thing over and over and over and over again. I won't name the person, and I was
Do you want me to
"Oh."
sum it up? Save you the journey down the rabbit hole. You're legally dead.
Yeah,
the
with
world's
the
not a
journey down the
sphere,
rabbit hole.
and the news is fake. There you go. That saved you the trouble.
Exactly. You're dead at sea. Yeah, we're all actually dead at sea.
Well, there you go. Get on with life now. Now start looking how beautiful everything is. Now you know. On with life.
And your birth certificate is a bond. Yeah.
Oh no! Don't dwell on any of that. Don't dwell on it. Just get on with what's what. You know, your involvement in the Matrix by way of birth certification or whatever is just kind of like. A guy called Del Crooks once described this to me, and he was like, "Well, you know, you have to involve yourself in life." And he described your straw man as like a coat that he put on. You know, every time he has to go down to what would be the DVLA or whoever to register his car and get the tax for it so he can keep driving it without hassle. He's like, yeah, well, you put on your dusty old straw man coat and you go down and you use your legal name and you take it off again when you get home again. It's just that simple.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like when you first find this all out, you just like, you look around and you just like, fuck this. Like what is everything? Everything is just not what you thought it was. And you just like process it all, and you have to kind of just step back for a bit and just re-evaluate everything, you know?
That's interesting.
So that was me.
When you say everything isn't what you thought it was, no, the silicon plastic world that you're presented with isn't what it was supposed to be and told to be. The world that you are actually in is exactly as it always was. The Earth was always and always will be obviously and observably flat. the nature of your general surroundings haven't changed in the slightest. But the poison, the bit I'm saying I don't take with a grain of salt, I just don't even take it, is the bit the bit you're describing. Oh, the world isn't as I thought it was. But you're saying as though it's the real world that isn't as you thought it was. Well, no, the pretend world that they presented you with and lied to you about, that wasn't ever your world. So you can just relinquish yourself of it, and the quicker you do, the less depressed you'll be.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do.
But from there on in, it's party time.
What it is.
Life's pretty
Never
sweet.
Experienced it.
That'll be $150 made out to Nathan Oakley.
You what? No, for the therapy. Yeah.
Yeah. The therapy.
Did you see my? I put the mental health hospital around the corner as a tag. It came up as a suggestion when I uploaded the video. So I was like, mental help here with the tag underneath on the scheduling video. Only one person noticed.
No, I didn't know.
So
I was too pissed while I was looking at it.
Too pissed? What do you mean? What's the problem?
Well, I made a suggestion and no one ever didn't say anything to it. I figured, wow, thanks a lot.
What was your suggestion? I didn't see any suggestion.
Oh, you didn't? It wasn't a suggestion. I said, no, we could talk shop after. I'm not going to talk now.
That sounds ominous. Oh dear. Have I done something wrong?
No, it's not that big a deal.
Have I done something wrong?
Well, just sounded ominous, that was all.
No, not at all. Must be my new mic.
That sounds all right. It's all good now. I think now you've turned the mic down, I've turned your level up, and everything's now hunky-dory. There's no feedback. Shout out to the Observer 1 for the super chat. Ace, their level... I can't read it on that screen. Let's just get it on the other one. Are there levels of real? What you experience, that would be real. What you haven't yet experienced might not even be there. So
the really is level, like we like to operate over here, unlike other people that like to operate on the not really is level. Yeah.
But outside of... I phrase this carefully so I don't get in any grief from QE. Outside of what has ever been experienced, it might not be at all. Is that careful enough phrasing?
That's pretty good.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, because they have to define real.
I think there's real and delta real.
Well, you didn't hear what QE just said. Define real.
Yeah, I heard what he said, yeah.
The long pause where everyone thinks about it for a minute. Should I be the one stepping forward here? What is real?
I like pretending like I have the answer, right? I listen, I just want you to define it. So you can step your toes in there. I'm not going to bring out the flamethrower.
And Morpheus puts it perfectly. What is real?
Well, I know what's real. The Earth is obviously and observably flat.
Not an example. What is it?
Well, if you're talking to a sentient being with a mind, it's the understanding of everything around you that you're able to process with your cognitive mind.
What about the things that aren't sentient that still seem to communicate with one another? What about those?
Well, that you are not able to use the same cognitive processes and they become metaphysical or spiritual.
Oh yeah, so automatically metaphysical, these physical things and their interactions. Why would you say such things?
Well, because there is more to life than physical.
Yeah, but just because we've got a physical thing with a physical interaction that isn't sentient doesn't make it supernatural.
No, what I'm trying to say, I guess, in the broader way is I don't believe a rock could experience its surroundings the way I experience my surroundings.
So that was perfectly led. So how does a rock experience things, 10th man?
Well, this is my point. It doesn't.
This is your point, is it? Oh, I thought I led you. There we go.
It doesn't. Because when I talk to it, it doesn't respond back.
It's not that it doesn't. It's just you can't define it.
No, I'm touching it. I'm saying hello, rock.
I'm. What about that rock now?
I'm waiting. You're responding to me, so you're now the rock.
Yeah, thanks for wasting our time.
You already said it doesn't, so yeah, we're on the same page. I'm just toying with you.
No, I'm having fun with you too.
Of course, this is your point.
Still waiting for a definition of real.
I obfuscated beautifully there. Why would you say such things, John, when I'd obfuscated this off the track so nicely?
Yeah, you did. It was a work of art, but back to business. What's real?
Someone must have a Google search up by now.
Well, we know where this is going.
No one's going to get their toes burnt.
All right.
Don't be scared.
Well, it was on Kiwi Show yesterday. That's all I'm going to say.
Subscribe today. Quantum Eraser channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Be here or be sphere.
I'll take a guess, I guess. I'll say physical and natural world.
Ballbusters tomorrow, 2 p.m. U.S. Central, 8 p.m. UK. Busting those train wreck globe arguments.
Yeah, this goes out afterwards for the main audience, by the way. Only applicable if you're watching live. Anyway, we had a contender. You were just too in the moment of plugging your own channel. Do you want to try again, Righteous Force? I heard you.
The physical and natural world?
So real would be the physical and natural world. Not bad.
Okay.
Not bad. Morpheus says what you can feel, taste, smell, and touch. And that's kind of akin to what 10th Man was saying as a sentient being, what you experience by way of your senses.
So anything other than that is not real?
Well, no, we're getting to supernatural then, don't we?
No, my question was real, not natural or supernatural.
Would our thoughts be considered like metaphysical?
No, oh, here we go. So it's covered by physics then.
Thoughts, information, time, thoughts, mathematics. They're not physical or natural.
Yeah. I'm tutting and sighing. It's just my gates closed low enough to not hear my tuts and sighs.
Are they not real?
Yeah, they're real. Come on, someone else have an attempt. I'm losing my smile fast here.
So, on a positive note.
Well, wouldn't it be all things that are subjected provingly so by all the natural laws?
What natural law does information follow?
Sorry?
What natural law does information follow? Like, look out, there's a tiger behind you.
Does information suffer entropy?
Entropy, yeah.
I would say not, no.
Well, information always gets more complex, and more elaborate.
The Observer 1 says, thanks for the super chat, by the way, physical and natural phenomenon. So we just had, it's already gone. He's just smashed Arwin with the same thing. I'm sorry, you were just pipped by Arwin, who's already had the reply. Do you want to give the same reply to the super chatter, Quantum Eraser?
Yeah. What about information? Is information real? Right. If it is, we have a problem.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yep. Then we got a problem with that previous definition.
Anything experienced by an observer, a knower?
How do we know it's real?
Not observer, a knower.
How do we know it's real? It can only be experienced by a conscious person.
I got there first.
No, you didn't.
I got there first. Come on, I was there first, wasn't I? The audience will back me. It's my show. They better. Anything experienced? Well, go on, QE. It doesn't matter. We'll say.
Is that what you were looking for? Something experienced by somebody? I thought that would be
a knower.
Information is not.
Hold on.
Information is only subjective.
No rumpusing. Chocolate's trying to get in on it now.
You gotta know it for it to be real. So I don't know what else you could be looking for.
We've got
subjective.
All three of us aren't getting our answer unless we all shut up now. So we've got Chocolate, Arwin, and I. Go ahead, Kiwi.
I heard a whole bunch of whistling in the background. Did anyone else hear that?
Oh, come on, Noah's.
Yeah, that's me at my job. Yeah.
Noah's.
Oh, okay. All right, back on subject.
Anything experienced by a Noah?
Real.
A Noah. Anything experienced by?
I didn't hear you. I was over talking you. Go ahead, say that one more time.
I'm on mute.
Causing feedback, by the way, Kiwi. Try and be a bit more vigilant with your mute button. Anyway, yeah, I can hear myself talking back through your line, Kiwi. Just maybe if you can turn your line down a bit more on your mic, and I'll turn you up on mine. That'd be brilliant. Anyway, anything that's experienced. You did hear me. I'm not repeating it again. You've had it from Chocolate. You've had it from me. You've had it from Armin. That's causing dead air. Anything experienced by a Noah?
Sure. I don't know.
Not think you, Arwin. You said it as well at the same time as me. Kudos.
Right. It's subjective. Information can only be experienced by a knower. So without a knower, it isn't anything.
Yeah, that's our claim.
Nothing else than a knower can interpret information.
That's our claim. Yeah, as a reply to the question from QE. He's heard it. I've summarised it. We're just waiting for a response, not a summary of the claim again. That's our response to his question. We get it.
I'm worried about the feedback. I was turning my mic down.
Remember, John? I think it was almost beginning of the year when I came on Ballbusters and asked about the Noah. I think it was the tree fallen. I don't know if you remember that.
We might come to that shortly. Yes, good point. Yes.
I like your definition. I like the definition that you guys had. It's a pretty good definition.
I'd say information is supernatural.
But it's experienced by you, the knower.
Right. Just like concepts. So it is not physical and natural.
We're getting off in the weeds now. What is real is the question. And according to QE, a good summary of the answer would be anything that's experienced by a knower. Are we all on the same page with what we mean when we say specifically the word knower as opposed to viewer or something similar?
Right.
Yeah.
Person with memory.
Well, not even person.
Person who experiences.
It requires memory to actually build experience. If you don't remember it, then you haven't experienced it.
It's just the information wouldn't exist without the knower. So the information was how we got onto this tangent. So how does the information exist? Is that supernatural? Well, the information comes about by way of knower. You don't have a knower, you don't have the information, right?
Yeah. It's a good definition. You guys did really good.
Chocolate was in third place. Me and Arwin level first. Very good. So we know what real is. That's good. So moving on, Flatsoid was pointing out about the tree in the woods thing. So this might blow a few people's mind. So maybe you can ask the question first, and I'll give you the answer, Flatsoid. What's the question to summarise?
Let's just say you're walking around in the woods, and you come across a tree that has fallen on the road. Has it fallen before you were there, or has it fallen once you got there? How would you know?
Sure. Or a variant on it is, does a tree in the woods make a sound if no one is there? Similar thing. So, to give the succinct answer, there is no tree.
The answer is no, and moreover, there is no tree.
Nonsense. No, I disagree.
Disagree. Okay.
Now here's the thing though about that. A falling tree is a process. So it means if I get a chainsaw and I cut it and I'm watching it falling, I am gaining information. If the tree's lying on the ground, you can't say that it fell technically because you didn't actually see the process.
How are you gaining information by cutting a tree?
let's just take it back to stuff that we have talked about. So, in terms of when we've talked about the quantum eraser, the delayed choice double slit, right? Well, in that, you've got a situation that is almost the origin of why they started experimentation with light, which is the also probably why it's wrapped up in doublespeak and confusion with wave-particle duality. But you've got a diffraction pattern. Well, what's a diffraction pattern? Well, it's a probability distribution. Now, that experiment can be scaled up in terms of the size of the matter that they fire. In terms of its physicality, it's bigger, and it behaves exactly the same. So what does that, in terms of your conclusions, what can you draw when you have the experimental validity given to what causes the actualization of those two physical bars? In other words, after what is mathematical, get that in quick, wave function collapse. Well, if you take a step back and analyse what the wave function itself is, it's a probability distribution. So prior to a knower experiencing and understanding the information, there was only a probability. Now there's going to be a few people who track along with that and go, holy fuck, there is no tree. And there's going to be a few people who go, what the hell is he babbling on about? But there we go.
Distribution, it's all math detraction. It's very simple to me, really. What causes that whole band to split up the way it does? It's just how going past surfaces, having interaction with surfaces, which is what the slits exactly are, how it influences the deviation of light by close proximity. And then apparently, it does split up in this specific fashion.
What's experiencing what now?
There's some kind of oscillation going on,
Quick
splitting
question.
it up like that.
Quick question, Owen. What's interacting with what now?
Interacting indirectly with the surface of the slits it's going past.
Okay, you're describing the light or matter that passes through the double slit. Is that what you're saying?
No,
the
light.
Interaction is.
Light.
But without anybody there, what would you end up with? Well, not without anybody there. That's wrong phraseology. Just let me correct. Let me self-correct just before it gets in. Hold on. Without any knowledge of the path which the light passed through, without that knowledge, what will be the pattern in that setup?
I don't think it's relevant to that setup.
It is. Knowledge of the which path is what causes
the wave.
Not if
you're just going to shine light in it.
If
you're going to shine light, it's always going to do that.
At this point, I'm getting rumpus towards shit, and it's complicated
may
stuff.
change if you're going to send light beams one at a time. Then things may change. But not if you're just going to output general amounts of light. It's always going to follow that pattern.
Did you give up, Nathan?
I did, yeah.
That's a good move.
Bit of dead air, so I might have another attempt though. So, prior to any information about which path the light took, the net result is only the probability distribution of the light. So it's not been, I don't know if this is the right word, but it's not been actualized yet. The thing that actualized it, if that's the correct terminology, is the acquisition of the information by a knower. Somebody who then knows about the path that it took.
Be careful. Be careful. Not exactly.
Okay.
It's not how I see it, but
just be careful. It's not knowledge. It's information existing. That is, if there is information existing and it's retrievable, then the wave function will collapse.
Sure.
Doesn't have to be known just yet. However, there's an incestuous feedback loop between information and knowledge, right? You can't have one without the other.
No, I totally get it. While I'm
So
saying
how
these
could you
things,
ever confirm this concept if by just getting to know it will always alter it? It seems
No.
like an unprovable experiment to me, really.
it is proven. QED.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Exactly like that?
Anyway,
Or another device that does something more complicated?
It's called the
wanna
delayed
continue off
choice
that
quantum erasers.
yeah, I just want to continue to that conversation to what you just
Oh,
said.
yeah, sure.
Yes, while I'm trying to while
while
I'm getting rumpus to all shit, unless I stop talking, then there's dead air. Right. What are we?
I'm losing you, Nathan.
It's because I'm not talking. Because when I do, I'm constantly interrupted mid-sentence. Yes, when I'm trying to phrase these things, John, in questioning somebody or leading them to the place I'm trying to lead them, in the back of my mind is the little example of the office that's connected via data link to the building with the double slit happening, and it's taking all the data and it sets on fire. Well, that's when you get the change in the experimental data that wasn't expected because the information is lost. But at some point prior to that, it was retrievable. Now, I know that, and I'm trying to phrase it with knowledge and information being used interchangeably where they're not. But it's too complex. This is just too complicated to have that quick fire debate with someone where you get them to the point, because there's just too many caveats to get in one breath before someone talks over you. It's nigh on impossible to have a reasonable discourse about this sort of conversation, which leads to the path of there is no spoon, there is no tree, there's only a probability distribution of reality until somebody knows about it. Now, I've said it again, knows, right? Correct, hopefully.
Yes, that's correct.
Right, but it's complicated when you've got constant interruptions and you're trying to follow your focus in terms of your phraseology, so you don't get it incorrect, but at the same time, that wasn't my focus, right? Yeah, the information, if retrievable at all, will still mean that tree is rendered. The tree's there if there was ever anybody experiencing it, and that information isn't completely lost to time in all ways, shapes, and forms. If it's in any way retrievable, that's still there. There's a tree, it's going to make a sound. Doesn't matter if you're there, because you could have a detector as opposed to a sentient being. But beyond the experience of a probability distribution, it isn't there. And that's really complicated. When you come to back it, it's backed with experimental validity. When I talk about having the knowledge, well, that's been backed by experiment. The knowledge of the which path is your cause in the double slit. What causes wave function collapse? Wave function being a probability distribution of the light until it was known which path it went through by a knower. Prior to that, probability only.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Even though you say probability, that's just a construct, a mental construct to describe.
There is no tree. To describe there is no tree. Yeah, it's hard to say. Probability distribution is the mathematical. I don't want to say reification because it is just mathematical. So the mathematics of describing something, and so we can comprehend it. Is it a concept or is it a what's the other word? A convention.
It's a convention used to describe something. It describes, yeah. I guess you can call it a convention.
Right, but it doesn't. It's not actual. But you know, these are ways of verbalizing something that's been described, I believe, by is it Schrödinger originally?
Go ahead. What did he describe?
The wave function.
Yeah, that was his baby. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
I just don't see what the purpose of any of this is, because you're only going to be dealing with things you're actually interacting with, therefore knowing, therefore collapsing this wave that can never be attained without putting attention on it in the first place. So it seems like, oh, there's this apparent thing. It's always going to be outside of reach. What the hell is even the use of this? It seems like a complete waste of time philosophy.
Really? You wouldn't be talking to us. You wouldn't be talking to us now.
About what's going to be happening or not.
What's it useful for?
Of your knowledge.
Oh my God! What's it useful for? Well, typically with.
I wasn't finished yet. I am now.
Typically, with anything that has actual scientific validity. If you just present the experiment, which we often do, we're guilty of this, we talk about the double slit quantum eraser delayed choice experiment, and it's not quantified. Well, pseudoscience produces nothing. Science produces useful technology when put into application. So, we wouldn't be having this conversation but for that experiment, Arwin.
I still don't see what the use of it all is. The
technology we're talking on.
Practically with the people that are talking about it is talk about things outside of their knowledge. I'm trying to tell you, you're
just asking the same bloody question. Yeah, ask your same question through my answer. The technology we're talking on right now?
Talking about technology.
Yeah,
I'm
this
talking
technology.
About way people spend their time that deal with this.
Yeah.
Constantly conceptualizing about things outside of their knowledge. Like it's
physically
useful in some way.
You've said that already. We
heard
you.
Why are you getting triggered?
Yeah, because I'm trying to explain it. He's saying it's not real. I'm saying the very technology we are communicating with right now is developed from quantum science.
Ooh.
Yeah, technology. Yeah, most people piss all over science when they don't understand it based on the experimentation. But when you present them with some actual technology that's useful, suddenly the scientific validation that's been put into practical application seems very useful, doesn't it, Arwin? Contrary to your point.
Well, I'm not convinced that quantum issue...
Oh, really? Well, you're not convinced we're having this conversation on the technology derived from the mathematics and the science and the experimentation? Well, I don't care how convinced you are. This isn't agree or disagree.
Fine. I'm not even saying that's not the case. I'm just saying, how is that supposedly adapted to technology? Because I know it's claimed. I've heard that even 20 years ago that they were working on that. But I've never actually figured out how that could even work.
Just look up semiconductors.
No, because information
look up
is
semiconductors.
I know the official explanations, okay? I know them. They just don't make sense to me. I get it.
I've just said this. It doesn't. I've just said this. The explanation or the experimentation or the mathematical derivatives are irrelevant to Joe Normal. Because there is derived technology, application of the scientific validity. That's all that matters, literally.
How?
Because if it wasn't valid, you wouldn't get anything useful out of the end of it.
That's a circular argument. How was it actually applied? Do you even understand that?
Hold on a second. Hey, Ranty.
Howdy.
Good to have you.
Howdy.
I just joined so that I could hear this when the show ends. Quite funny and entertaining.
Is that a lie? Did you just want to plug Ranty's round table?
Absolutely not. Genuinely not.
Plug your show. Go on, plug your show.
You wanted to remind you?
No. I didn't join for that. I actually genuinely did join. So I thought I was going to listen to Arwin raging. I was afraid I was going to miss it.
That's a very serious point, and then I get a little louder when I'm halfway.
Leave Arwin alone. Arwin's the legend.
Like you're doing right now.
He doesn't need cheerleaders. We still think Arwin is ace, and
Arwin is the legend. I agree.
Yeah, he is. That's not in question, though. Just so that's clear. In case anyone thought for a second this was in any way a slight against Arwin's credibility, it isn't.
I get a Coriolis question. You have a Coriolis question?
Who, me?
Yeah. No, something said in the background. Sorry. Who said that?
That's not very fair. Yes, you can come to it in a second, Chris. Arwin's still got a question on the table, though.
I do?
Okay.
What do you mean I do? How did it come to pass when we said semiconductors? Well, I don't see the connection was what you stated, and then there was a bit of rumpusing. If there's not a question on the table, I'll happily move on.
Sure.
Well,
Semiconductors. Okay, semiconductors are quantum, of course. Okay.
We're all cool. We're still having this conversation on a computer. Then, when you're not unconvinced, happy days. Let's move on.
I know it's a piece of electronics. Don't see the correlation with any quantum ability, though.
Right. That's where I said we left off. Perfect. That's what I said. You've still got a question on the table.
Don't have to address it right now. Yeah. If you want to explain it, sure, go ahead. I'll see if there's actually something quantum related to it, or if it's actually something else, which it usually tends to be. So go ahead. If you want to explain it, fine.
Explain what?
That device that supposedly proves quantum.
What do you mean prove quantum?
You know what I mean. You know that I had a question, practical application of this supposedly scientifically proven concept that has to do with information. So now prove that that actual effect is actually relevant to the design of this piece of electronics, please. That's actually applied in it.
Everything's quantum mechanics. That's what you get the periodic table from. It's when you say it's quantum, that's like saying...
No, don't get back on the way I described it. We were talking about the experiment, right? So how does the scientific conclusion from that knowledge of how that's supposed to work outside of knowledge, how does that apply to this electronic device?
Yeah, they use the proxy of the interference pattern, mainly with tunneling. How about that?
Pattern.
Quantum
So
tunneling.
it doesn't have anything. It's just the interference pattern of light. Because the interference pattern of light always happens. It doesn't matter if you're going to be looking at it or not. Now, this was about the attention thing, about the actual knowing. So how does the actual knowing influence that piece of electronics? Not a wave pattern.
It's a red herring. How does the actual knowing of what?
Well, the alteration of a pathway due to knowledge, information. That's what it was all about.
Owen, have you ever thought of
apply to that electronics?
Have you ever thought of...
Hold on a second, Flatzoid. Hold on.
Say it again.
It's the whole issue concerning this experiment and how the knowing, the knower, the information influence the pathway of what they're doing, of the light in this case. Okay, how the knowing influences this. It's very hard to check though, but you figure there's been a machine that can supposedly prove this. So I'm going to accept that that supposedly proves that. I haven't actually witnessed it myself, but I'll take that for granted. Okay, so how does that actual knower affect the alteration of the light pathway due to knowing about it, due to the information? How does that relate to the actual functioning of that piece of electronics? Tell me how.
If you want to know the answer, you'll have to stay tuned if you are watching on the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel, as this is where we bid the live Nathan Oakley audience farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you tuned in. Smash the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. As I say, stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream. Massive thank you to all of today's live panel. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Expecting you